The ink on my divorce papers had barely dried when I found myself standing in the middle of my empty Tampa apartment, wondering what the hell I was supposed to do with my life. 10 years of marriage, gone with a signature. Suddenly, I was Heather Thompson, 35, single, and completely lost. The silence in that apartment was deafening. No footsteps, no clatter of dishes, just the occasional honk from the street below. I ran my fingers through my blonde hair and caught my reflection in the hallway mirror. My blue eyes looked tired, framed by faint lines that had appeared over the past few months. I needed to do something, anything, to shake myself out of the fog I'd been living in. That's when I saw the flyer. Outdoor movie night at the park. It wasn't much, but it was better than spending another evening drowning my sorrows in wine and reruns of Friends. By the time I got to the park, the sun was setting, streaking the sky with orange and pink. Families and couples were spreading out blankets, setting up lawn chairs. I found a spot near the back and settled in just as the movie started. Then a voice broke through the opening credits, warm, casual, a little amused. "Mind if I join you? Everywhere else is taken." I looked up and saw her wavy brown hair, striking green eyes, a small blanket in her arms. She was smiling in a way that made my heart skip. I moved over without thinking. She sat down, thanked me, and introduced herself as Julia. Through the whole movie, I was aware of her, the light scent of her perfume, the way she laughed at the funny parts, the warmth of her arm brushing against mine. When a cool breeze swept over the park and she shivered, I offered her my blanket. Suddenly we were huddled together, shoulder to hip, breathing the same cool night air. By the time the credits rolled, I didn't want the night to end. And apparently, neither did she. She suggested we grab coffee at a nearby cafe. I said yes before my brain could catch up with my mouth. We talked for hours that night about work, family, music, anything that came to mind. When we finally said goodnight, we exchanged numbers. Over the next few weeks, Julia became a part of my life, a bright, unexpected presence. She'd text me random memes in the middle of the day or call me just to talk. I started looking forward to her name lighting up my phone. One afternoon, she invited me to a women's networking mixer at her co-working space. I hesitated. That world felt foreign to me, but Julia had a way of making me braver. I went, and the moment I stepped into that buzzing space, I felt something stir inside me. Women of all ages were sharing ideas, encouraging one another. Julia introduced me to everyone, her hand warm at the small of my back as she guided me through the crowd. As the weeks passed, I found myself changing, growing. One evening, we walked along the Tampa Riverwalk after an event. Julia said I seemed different lately, happier. I realized she was right. I was happier. Then she reached out, brushed a strand of hair from my face, and smiled. That one small gesture lit up something in me I hadn't felt in years. Panic and longing hit me all at once, and I made an excuse to leave. But I couldn't shake her from my mind. I started replaying every touch, every glance, wondering if I'd imagined the spark. Then, on a rainy Tuesday, everything changed. We were leaving a cafe, waiting under an awning for the storm to ease, laughing about something silly I'd said. A raindrop clung to her lip, and without thinking, I brushed it away. She went quiet. Then she kissed me. It was soft, almost hesitant, but it lit something in me that I couldn't put out. I kissed her back, my heart hammering, and when we finally pulled apart, both of us breathless, I knew nothing could ever go back to the way it was. The days after that kiss were a blur of charged glances and long silences. Finally, one night on my couch, sharing a bottle of wine, Julia said we needed to talk. She admitted she had feelings for me, strong ones, and hoped I felt the same. I told her I did, but that I was scared. I'd never felt this way about a woman before. Julia took my hand and told me there was no rush, that we could figure it out together. Then she kissed me again, soft at first, then deeper, until I felt myself melt into her. The next few weeks were a quiet, thrilling blur. We took our time, exploring whatever this was, learning each other's rhythms. I started to notice everything about her, the way her eyes crinkled when she laughed, the way she sighed softly when we kissed. One lazy Sunday afternoon, lying tangled together in bed, I finally asked her what we were. Girlfriends, she said with a smile. If I wanted that. And I did. Julia became my anchor, my safe place, my reminder that I deserved to be happy. Then life threw me a blow I didn't see coming. My sister called one night, sobbing, to tell me our brother Mark had been killed in a car accident. I collapsed against the counter, clutching the phone, feeling like the air had been punched out of me. When I hung up, I called Julia. The second she heard my voice, she said she was coming over. 15 minutes later, she was on my kitchen floor with me, holding me while I sobbed into her shoulder. She booked my flight, helped me pack, and stayed in touch every night while I was gone. When I came home a week later, she was waiting at the airport. I ran to her, not caring who saw. That night, in the quiet of my apartment, I told her everything about Mark, about the hole his absence had left in my life. Julia listened, tears shining in her green eyes. Then she kissed me gently, like she was stitching me back together. The kiss deepened. Her hands were soft but certain as she held me, guiding me closer. That night was the first time I let myself fully love her, without fear, without hesitation. In the weeks that followed, I felt my grief turn into something gentler, something bearable. And with that came clarity. Life was too short to hide. One afternoon at the farmer's market, I introduced Julia as my girlfriend, out loud, in public for the first time. It felt like stepping into the sun. Later that night, I called my parents and told them too. They were surprised, but loving. My dad said all he wanted was for me to be happy. There were challenges, of course, awkward conversations, a few judgmental looks, but there was also a flood of support. Julia and I grew stronger together. 6 months later, we moved into a small apartment overlooking the Tampa skyline. On our first night there, we stood on the balcony, watching the city lights. Julia wrapped her arms around me and asked if I was happy. I told her I'd never been happier. And I meant it. From the lonely, lost woman staring at divorce papers to the woman I was now loved, seen, brave, the journey had changed me completely. Life still had its storms, but with Julia by my side, I wasn't afraid of them anymore.